Hey everyone, welcome to week 3. Thanks for all your hard work last week. I'm going to be going through your posts, the remaining posts today, and grading those, so I should get you some feedback in the next day or two. Thanks for all the emails you sent to me about your annotated bibliographies, and I think there's going to be some great topics. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the information that you find out as you do that work. Of course, that assignment isn't due until week 6, so you've got plenty of time to be working on it, but I think you are off to a great start with the topics that you've chosen. This week, we are going to be looking at factors that contribute to prejudice and bias and stereotyping. And there's some great material this week, great reading and a couple of podcasts and some other videos. And it's kind of a lot to take in, but it's all very good information. So I encourage you to take some time to look through that. I'm kind of laughing to myself this morning as I'm talking to you because I just finished doing some tasks like washing my breakfast dishes and hanging my laundry out on the clothesline, and I'm pasteurizing some milk and some pretty traditional tasks. So it's kind of funny to me that we're doing this class, but I will say that my husband does those things just as much as I do. So I'm thankful to have a partner who is on board with both of us sharing the load in our house. I think that this week also, as we look at the idea of changing things, changing, not just bemoaning what the status is, but how do things actually change? One thing I've been thinking about in my own journey is the role that male advocates have played in seeing some of the stereotypes changed. And I think even here in Ethiopia, where I've encountered a lot of very traditional views and patriarchy, I've also met a number of men who are wanting to change things and whose wives are professional women and who are trying to create opportunities for women. And I think that's incredibly important to have dialogue with men who are feminists or who are advocates, and encouraging them to step up and say more to in the whole big picture of trying to fight bias and stereotypes. Also, I wanted to say a few words to you today about your interviews, and some of you have sent me some of your questions or who you're planning to interview, and that is not required. You don't have to do that, but if you want to send me any of that, I'm more than happy to dialogue with you about it. A couple of things about interviewing. Some of you have probably done a little bit of this in the past, qualitative interviews, but just some important things. One is when you meet with the person, I would encourage you to try to meet in a quiet place rather than a coffee shop or something like that that's loud. If possible, you could record the session or take good notes. I would not rely on your memory because you'll forget some important things. So, but be sure to ask their permission if you are recording them or even taking notes. Just make sure that that's okay. Sometimes people are actually nervous when you interview them, and that will cause them to either talk a lot or not to talk that much at all. So part of what you're doing is helping them to feel comfortable, and you're not interviewing them like for a job. Obviously, you're interviewing them for them to tell their story and their experiences, and they are the experts of that. So you just have the benefit of asking questions to kind of guide them as they talk. So I think you have some examples of questions, but I encourage you to think about what do you really want to know, and specifically maybe adding a question or two about women and leadership to the set of questions. At the end of your time with them, I would encourage you to ask a question like, is there anything you haven't told me, or do you have any more insights for me? Because sometimes people will think of things they wish they had said, and sometimes those gems are kind of the best part of it. So I would encourage you to ask a general question like that toward the end. I think that's all that I wanted to tell you about today. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out. And I hope you have a great Labor Day and a great week. Take care.